The greatest disaster was, of course, Belfast. There had been trouble in the city at the beginning of August, but this time it was to be far worse, and the roots of this trouble are not difficult to see. Of Belfast's 400,000 people, about 7 out of 10 are Protestant. Some streets in Belfast are exclusively occupied by either Protestant or Catholic families. The Shankill Road and Sandy Row are well-known Protestant strongholds. The Falls Road and Divis Street are regarded as Catholic sections. And in the northwestern part of the city is the Ardoyne area, where Protestants and Catholics face each other across the Crumlin Road. And it's in these areas that most of the week's violence took place. Well, by the night of Thursday, August the 14th, the barricades had been erected in Belfast, with militants on both sides spurred on by many factors, among them the news from Londonderry, Catholic fear of the B specials, Protestant anger at the speech by Mr. Lynch. The battle began at midnight.
Off you go to the shop and bring me back a loaf of bread. Now be quick, because I'm putting on your tea.
Okay, Mum.
What have I told you? Stop kicking the ball around here. Take it down the street.
Hi.
Where are you going?
The shop?
Can I have a go on your skateboard?
Okay, but just for a minute.
Where is he? Has he got lost? Honestly.
My name is Cecil Linehan. My husband and I started very early on living in Hollywood, and our 2 boys and our girl got places in the Hollywood State Nursery, and all children were mixed. When they got to 5 and were going to primary school, we felt it was a terrible pity that there was no choice except to attend a Catholic school or a Protestant school.
Who's that down there? He's on our side.
Right, let's go. Come on.
What are you doing here?
Hi, what are you doing?
What do you mean? Go back to your own side. Fight!
Is he fighting again? I am going to kill him. What is going on here?
He's on our side.
I did not raise you like that. Guys, what's happening?
He started it.
Right, I have had enough of this. I can't put up with this anymore. I don't want them growing up the way we did with those divides. It's time for a change.
Northern Ireland, 1981. Amidst the backdrop of inflamed sectarian troubles in Northern Ireland and Republican hunger strikes in the Lease prison, there was a ray of hope, a vision for a brighter future, a new movement being born.
We felt that there must be other people out there doing the same thing, and to cut a long story short, I got replies from all over the place, from Newtownards, from Bangor, from Belfast, from Ballymena, and realised there was a huge sort of a groundswell of opinion below this concept of what we were doing. So I met a girl called Betty Benton to find that she was already one of a group of parents running simple Sunday schools to teach the children their RE. And that is the way it progressed. And then out of the blue in 1973, the Catholic bishop made an announcement from the churches, the Catholic churches in Hollywood, Newtownards and Bangor, that Catholic children not in Catholic schools, they would not be confirmed. So that when the decision was taken in 1981 to open an all-ability post-primary college for Catholic and Protestant boys and girls, it was a period of about 6 weeks, we were given a grant of £60,000. And I think if we hadn't seen what we had been doing all during the 70s, we would never have got that money. And that paid for our principal and one teacher for the first 3 years.
What's the
Hi, love, how are you?
Good, how's yourself?
Oh, you know, same old, same old.
Good. Do I hear the kettle has boiled?
You do, you know we do well.
How are you doing? Good.
So it's all very exciting today.
We're having a good one.
You forgot something at home?
Cheers.
Is this your one here? Yeah,
Yeah, it should be.
Okay. Oh, I am parched, thank you.
Of course.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you.
Well, I know what your biz is.
Wow, just in time.
Just in time for tea.
Must have smelled it.
You're right, I did. You did not get those keys from me. George is expecting you. There's 30 tables and chairs. They're a bit dusty, but unused. Right. They'll do well. You can borrow my van.
Alright, well, I'll get on.
We were interested in parental involvement, we were interested in gender equality, we were interested in bringing new ideas to the school, because although there was some basic background there in terms of setting up schools, we had a little bit of a blank sheet, and how were we going to reflect both community backgrounds you know, of the children that were coming to us. So what were we going to do about the teaching of religion, what were we going to do about sports, about music, about books, just all sorts of things. And these gave us great discussion during our board meetings.
What strikes me is that teachers who came along to teach in Hazelwood were risking not just their own career potential, but they're also their pension. And so I have the greatest respect then and now for teachers who, in a sense, took a leap into the dark, a leap into the unknown, an act of faith, because they too cared about and wanted to contribute to integrated education.
Well, we took out some more equity in the house to cover the teachers' salaries for the next 3 months. So, looking at this, I think there should be enough left over to cover it.
Really?
Yeah. Well, actually, I did want to ask about the schedule, cleaning, cooking.
Okay. That is a wee bit more complicated. At this stage, what I need is for everyone, including the other parents around here today, to let me know what their schedules are when they're free.
Obviously everyone has their own jobs, so we just need to work out when people are free what they're willing to do, whether it be teach, cook or clean. One day you might be cooking, the next day you might be teaching, or 1 hour you might be doing one thing and the next hour you might be doing the other. Once I have what everyone's availability is, I'll try and put together a basic rota, and then if swaps need to happen, then we'll do that in-house.
Yeah, that's grand.
Yeah, so I can say meeting adjourned?
Yeah.
Meeting adjourned then, let's leave it at that.
More tea.
Get the buns out.
The 1st of September 1981. 28 children made headlines across the world as we opened our doors to Ardna Valley Scout Hut, Northern Ireland's first integrated school.
My class last year, well, they were all going to the local comprehensive, nearly all of them, and I wanted to go there with them. But then when Mummy told me about it, I thought it'd be exciting, different, and all new and everything. But now I came. I wanted to go at the start. I wanted to go back to the other school, but now I like it and I want to stay here.
I suppose one of the big challenges was recruitment of children and also recruitment of staff, because when we started the first integrated primary school in 1984, we had no blueprint, we had nothing to go on. We knew obviously about Lagan College, that was a secondary school, they'd certainly paved the way, and it's hard now to reflect back on the climate, which was really fairly hostile.
Mummy just told me about it, and I just thought, no, I don't really want to go to that place. I wanted to go to this other school called St Patrick's in Lisburn, and Mummy wouldn't let me go to that, although all my friends were going to that school. And then I went to Lagan College. First few days I thought it was no good, and then about 2 weeks later I thought it was all right, and now I've made an awful lot of friends and it's very good.
Survival in the early years was a triumph of faith over reason. 28 children of all abilities, all denominations and faiths walked side by side through the Scout Hut door in the hope of a brighter future, in the hope of a better today.
I've been associated with the Hazelwood schools, that's both primary and secondary, since their establishment in 1985. My wife and I lived then and still live in North Belfast, so when the opportunity came along to start what was then the first primary school, it was too good an opportunity to miss. Because we lived in North Belfast, notoriously and historically and accurately, the Murder Mile and all the rest, that's where most sectarian incidents and murders took place. Mainly because North Belfast is a jigsaw puzzle of Catholic and Protestant communities living cheek by jowl. So if there was a need for integrated education anywhere, and mutual understanding and a respect for our traditions, North Belfast was the place to be. So when the integrated education idea was established, then we couldn't not join it. We then contributed to it because we thought we had something to contribute ourselves.
At a barbecue in a garden in Crawford Square, the results of the 11 Plus came out in 1990, and some of the families complained about, oh, the results were late and what are we doing? And somebody said, why do you think we keep separating children in every possible way we can? We separate them by ability, by gender, by religion. This seems a bit crazy. And the discussion asked the question, so why could we not educate them together? And after that, we contacted NICE, the Northern Ireland Council for Integrated Education, who were an enormously great help.
When we were in the school and in the Lagan College situation, it was just the anxiety of constantly going to run out of money. The school just grew, absolutely. We'd 28 the first year, 56 the second year, about 128 the third year. We were looking everywhere to get more mobiles, to put them down on the site where we were, and we just, at one stage, we were just running straight out of money because we were spending about 20,000 a month, and we could see that by the end of March we were just going to be broke.
We were very lucky because we came in and we were funded to open the school in 1991. I was part of the group, but I became the principal of the school, and we started with 68 children. And during that, at the end of that first year, we ended up with 144. And we had set up relationships with churches and with council and with various schools in the district, and that was a really exciting year. But I think one of the most kind of poignant stories that I was ever connected to the school, it was in the course of the first year where a child, an 8-year-old child, the mother told this story that her daughter had come home and said, well, how do you like your new school? And it doesn't matter whether she'd been at a Protestant school or a Catholic school before, but she just said, how do you like your new school? And she said, yeah, I like it fine. And she said, why is it different? And she said, well, I didn't want to tell you, but at my old school I never talked about you, I talked about Daddy. At Oak Grove I can talk about both of you and be proud of you.
My late daughter, Danielle, who went to Hazelwood labelled by the system as a failure, graduated at the University of Glasgow with a first-class honours in languages. In fact, Danielle said it was actually 3 first-class languages honours because she had to get a first in all her languages, French, Spanish and Catalan, before she was awarded the first-class honours. So I remember distinctly the June day I got the news that Danielle had got a first-class honours, a heart-stopping moment and a vindication, if ever there was one, of the educational quality and the educational service you get at an integrated school.
As political tensions raged on, the movement gained momentum. New schools began to open up as parents wanted a change for their children during these dark times. The integrated school provided a beacon of hope, of wisdom and enlightenment for those in their communities and around our schools. In 1994 saw the first IRA and Loyalist ceasefires, and in 1998 the Good Friday Agreement was signed and the Northern Ireland Assembly was established.
A very clear statement from our people that they want the foundations laid for lasting peace and stability, and how those foundations should be laid are spelt out in this agreement.
even now, this will not work unless in your will and in your mind you make it work.
1998 was also the year when 5 schools decided to become integrated: Bangor Central, Fort Hill, Kirkcudbright, Kilbrony and the Priory.
I'll take you back to 1985 when we were collecting money in the streets of Belfast to finance the schools, and almost everyone who came past, wee men with dentures, ladies with fur coats, as they swept past and gave us £1, every one of them said, "Should have been done years ago, mate. Good luck to you." So there's that sort of overwhelming view of integrated education among the community. It somehow has not yet been represented at the political level. Someday it must, and that's my hope for the future.
The majority of our children are still educated in a school which reflects largely one religious or cultural tradition. There are currently 65 integrated schools, 23 of these transformed to become integrated. Parents, teachers, pupils, school governors and anyone else who cares can and do influence schools to become integrated. We need your help to continue our story.
I'm very optimistic. Any of the young parents that I know that just won't go back to the old ways, because you can show that where there's a society with 2 groups of people, if they work together over a long period with equal status, it definitely drops bigotry. If the government wanted to, they could just open the gates and say, this is the way children are going to be educated in the future. The political will isn't there, never has been there, and that's what should be done.
Integrated education, whatever that may be called, as the default position for educating our children for the future, just to have a more inclusive society.